Hey guys and girls, how's it going? I hope you guys are on a great week. So E3 is here, guys, and I am back today with another conference review. This one is going to actually review Square Enix's conference. It is not a blow-by-blow description of what happened, but it's just generally talking about what my highlights were, what I really enjoyed, and what I thought Square Enix could have done better, and my general impressions on it. So what did I think of Square Enix's conference? Well, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought the conference started well, and I thought it ended well, but then in the middle of the conference, it kind of lacked pacing and was a little bit weak. So it was tasty to start, tasty to starter, tasty dessert, a little bit of a bland main course. That was generally my impressions of Square Enix's conference. Let's start by talking about the beginning of the conference, which was the best part of the conference for me. It just absolutely blew me away, and that was their reveal and focus on Final Fantasy VII Remake. They showed tons of gameplay at their conference this year. It was awesome. They just kicked it off straight away, straight into some gameplay. They showcased the combat in a lot more detail. We got to see Cloud and Barrett actually fighting. We even got to see a boss fight against a Scorpion Sentinel boss. We got to see how the combat kind of works, and they were talking about sort of the real-time combat as well as the ATB gauge and sort of tactical cam that you can use as well. And you can actually sort of freeze time, switch between characters nice and fluidly. They talked about obviously staggering enemies and that kind of thing, and there were sort of elements of the old Final Fantasy VII in there, but just sort of modernized for sort of the next generation. I'm a massive fan of Final Fantasy VII. It's the first Final Fantasy game that I ever played, and in my opinion, it is the best Final Fantasy game that I ever played. Now, obviously, I'm looking at it through the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia, and the whole time I was watching this gameplay reveal, I just absolutely freaked out. I got really emotional. I wasn't expecting to feel that way, but this was my childhood, and there was so much nostalgia there. And they even revealed Tifa in a first look sort of cinematic trailer and gameplay trailer as well, and it just looks absolutely incredible. The setting looks amazing. The game looks beautiful. They said the game is absolutely massive. It's actually going to cover 2 Blu-ray discs, and that's just the very first episode, the first game, which is totally insane. But they have confirmed it's coming out on the 3rd of March 2020. Next year is going to be absolutely insane. On the 3rd of March, obviously, we've got Final Fantasy VII Remake. Then I think on the 6th of March, we've got Watch Dogs Legion, I think. And then obviously in April, we've got Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know where I'm going to find the time. I'm going to really struggle to finish Final Fantasy VII before Cyberpunk kicks off in April. It's just totally insane. Next year looks so incredible. It's going to be so difficult. The Game of the Year category is going to be so heavily contested next year, and I just cannot wait to play these games. But Final Fantasy VII Remake looked just absolutely phenomenal. It looked amazing. Words cannot express how excited I am to pick up and play this game. And it is actually going to be playable at E3. There is a working demo at E3 this year. So I'm really sad I'm not going to be there to play it, but I will definitely be watching other people playing it, and will obviously be listening to people's feedbacks on the gameplay and how it feels to play the game. So that was really awesome. Final Fantasy VII was definitely a highlight for me, probably stole the show for me, was probably the best part of the conference. We then had, at the end of the conference, we had Marvel's Avengers, which was finally revealed. We got a cinematic trailer. We got to actually have a look at the Avengers themselves, and they have confirmed there are going to be 5 playable characters confirmed from the start, which obviously is Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk, and Iron Man. We got to see cinematic trailers and sort of cutscene snippets. I think I couldn't tell if there were segments of it that were gameplay, because was the action was just so fast paced, and it definitely gave me vibes of Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. The art style, obviously, of the Avengers, this is obviously is by Crystal Dynamics, so it's their own interpretation of the Avengers. And I know a lot of people have criticized, saying that they don't look like their movie counterparts, and they don't like the look of Captain America, or Hulk or whatever. But I'm fine with that. I think that's absolutely fine. They don't have to look like the movie editions. This is a game. The Avengers existed way before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they will exist way after the cinematic universe has ended. So I'm absolutely fine with them doing their own kind of visual style and animation style. I think that's absolutely fine. What had me really excited for Marvel Avengers was the announcement of who is actually voice acting them. So they kind of made it sound like it was going to be a really good sort of story experience, and they talked about the cast that they've actually got for it, which are some incredibly seasoned voice actors. So just to go through, Captain America is being played by Jeff Sheen. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Thor is being played by Travis Willingham, Black Widow by Laura Bailey, Hulk by Troy Baker, and Iron Man by Nolan North. So obviously Nolan North, Troy Baker, and Laura Bailey have all been in Uncharted 4 together. I usually associate them with incredible story, single-player, story-driven games. So the fact that they are connected to Marvel Avengers for me has me even more excited. Suffice it to say, at the beginning of the game, something happens. I think they call it A-Day, where there is a massive accident and explosion. It looks like Cap actually dies, but whether or not he'll come back later in the game as a playable character, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So it kicked off, and I was really thinking, oh, right, this is a single player experience where you get to choose which character you want to play as. But then they started to talk about this whole the fact it's a live service game, and they started to talk about the fact that you can play in teams of up to 4 players online with your friends. They talked about the fact that they're going to be releasing multiple years worth of content, adding additional heroes, additional story as the game sort of progresses and in the upcoming months and years and that kind of thing. They did say that all this content is going to be free. They talked about the fact that there are going to be no loot boxes, there's going to be no pay to win, but I'm definitely expecting there are going to be microtransactions. And when they start talking about that and trying to sort of get cheers and credit for that kind of stuff has me concerned. And generally, I'm not a fan of this games as a service, theme going on at the moment. I don't really like games as a service. I don't think they work at the moment. I think they're fine in a free-to-play game, but I don't think they work for sort of mainstream AAA franchises. And, obviously, Crystal Dynamics have never really done a games as a service, always online game. They've done single-player experiences, obviously Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider reboot being a very good example of one. They've had multiplayer as part of those games, but they've not been the core of what that game is about. And it makes me nervous because obviously BioWare did Anthem, and they're a studio that have never done this online open world and this games as a service. They didn't do a very good job with Anthem. So it does have me nervous for Crystal Dynamics and obviously what they are going to produce. And then we also got another announcement, which was a brand new IP called Outriders. We don't know very much about this. We got to see a pretty cool looking CG trailer. It is basically a 3-player co-op survival game. It's a drop-in, drop-out multiplayer game, and you're set on a hostile alien planet. It is being developed by People Can Fly. This is the team that bought us Bulletstorm and Gears Judgment. So they've got a lot of experience when it comes to shooters, first-person shooters. And third-person shooters as well. They have sort of said it is a dark, modern shooter, and it is looking at coming out some point in summer 2020 on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. But I really like the art style of Outriders, and they did say that you can customize and create your own characters, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait to see more gameplay. Again, they showed a cinematic trailer, but you couldn't really get a sense of how the game would actually play because obviously we didn't get to see any gameplay. We then, of course, got lots of announcements in the middle section of the conference. These announcements were okay, but nothing really blew me away. It was a pretty good year this year for Final Fantasy. We got an announcement of a Final Fantasy VIII remastered edition. I never played Final Fantasy VIII, so obviously I can understand why people might be hyped about that and super excited to play it. And I'm definitely interested to play it because I never played VIII. But my focus right now is all on Final Fantasy VII. So I don't know whether it's too soon for them to announce that game coming out remastered, but it is set to come out in late 2019. They then announced a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles remaster, and also they showed off a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV's Shadowbringer expansion. They showed a really cool cinematic trailer which looked awesome, and it's set to come out in winter 2019. I know very little about Final Fantasy XIV, but I do know it has a very dedicated, a very passionate fan base, and it looked really, really cool. And I know a lot of people that have seen the trailer are super hyped for it. And then, of course, we got an announcement of Last Remnant remastered on the Switch, and also Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, which will be coming in the winter of 2019. So we got some announcements in the middle of the conference that were interesting, but generally, yeah, I thought the conference was it went on a little bit too long for my liking. It had a really good start and it had a really good finish, but then in the middle, it just sort of lacked pacing, and it didn't really sort of grip me. And I just didn't find it as exciting in the middle portion, and it felt like it dragged on. I don't know if that's because it was obviously like 3:00 in the morning. It started at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I think it finished about 3:30. So by 3:00, obviously, the tiredness was kicking in, even with me having caffeine to try to stay awake. But yeah, it definitely felt like the conference dragged on a little bit too long. But obviously, it's good that Square Enix have lots of games that they can showcase and they can talk about. So yeah, but most definitely Final Fantasy VII Remake and Marvel Avengers stole the show for me. Marvel Avengers, I'm still on the fence about. I'm still cautiously optimistic. I don't know what to expect, so I'm very much going to be tuning in to the E3 Coliseum, because there is going to be a showcase on that game where the developers are going to be talking about it. So I'm hoping there's going to be some good questions asked. I'm hoping they're going to reveal a lot more about what the game actually is, and I'm hoping we're going to get to actually see some gameplay. That would be really awesome to actually see some gameplay, especially with it coming out at the beginning of next year. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Square Enix's conference this year. Have you seen the conference? If you have, obviously let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which parts of the conference did you really enjoy? What games are you hyped for? What were your general impressions of the conference? Please share in the comment section below. Hope you guys are having a great week. Of course, I'll be back with more E3 content as the week progresses. We're going to start to focus now on different games. So I'm going to be bringing you more information on the different games announced, what developers are saying about these games, and obviously talking about the games that I'm super hyped for, and obviously what we can learn from them at E3. But I'll be bringing out content throughout the week, so please look forward to that. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.